We have to take care of this earth. And our next speaker is going to address that. She's been with Slalom for about 1.5 years, but she's been consulting for about 8 years. She started a business that focused on environmentally and socially responsible shopping. She's trained with my favorite election winner who did not become president. Please help me welcome Sonja Price.
How many of you experience grave confusion every time you attempt to sort your personal trash? Yeah. How about this fork, for example? Is this compostable, recyclable, or is it just plain trash? This day and age, you actually have to read the fine print on the back of the fork before you know what to do with it. Luckily, this one is compostable. How about this used recycle from my lunch earlier today? It actually still has a little bit of corroded barbecue sauce on it. I had to look this one up. This one actually is trash because you can't recycle anything that has food scraps on it. Oh! Thank you. How about this plastic container? Is it a number 7, a 2, a 5? I don't know, but I'm going to throw it in the recycle and hope for the best. Many of us are incredibly passionate about our recycling and composting habits. In fact, if you were my condo association, you might fine me for throwing this cardboard box in the recycle without breaking it down first. We all know that we're supposed to recycle and compost and even shop locally. As a nation, we've made a ton of progress, but we still have a long ways to go. On average, an individual generates 4.4 pounds of waste per day. And of that, we recycle 1.5 pounds. We recycle and compost 1.5 pounds, or roughly 34%. You might be surprised to learn that all municipal waste, this is the everyday items discarded by the public, accounts for less than 1% of our gross national trash. The remaining 99% is composed of industrial solid waste, which is generated during manufacturing processes, and RCRA special waste, which is classified as hazardous and is dangerous to our human health and the environment. What the heck? We've been focused on the wrong pile of trash. For every 1 pound that you and I haul out to the curb on a weekly basis, an additional 65 plus pounds is generated upstream during manufacturing processes. Now, if you're like me, when you first heard this statistic, you might think, what's the point? Why not give up? How big of a difference can any one person make anyhow? For me, I'm definitely not the type of person to chain myself to a tree in protest. But I did start doing some research, and then later went on to train with Al Gore to become a climate reality leader. And what this means is that I give presentations on global warming and all of the actions that you and I can take to help reverse the ill effects of what we're currently doing to our planet. Now, if we don't make drastic changes, we will have a lot more than a bunch of depressed snowboarders on our hands. In the next 20 to 30 years, we will likely experience a 3.6 degree rise in temperature. And by the turn of the century, only 85 short years from now, we will likely see a 7.2 degree rise in temperature. What this equates to is more natural disasters, lower food crop yields, water shortages, increased pollution, and global health epidemics. Now, rather than try to convince you that global warming is indeed a real thing, just a quick FYI, it definitely is. 97% of all climate scientists agree. Or try to depress you with tragic images of adorable yet helpless polar bears. Let's focus on the positive tonight, shall we? That's right, capitalism. Because everything that we know about our economic system includes altruistic motives, am I correct? Well, maybe not everything. Luckily, there are a number of companies who are making a difference, much bigger than just that tiny little slice of the 1% of the waste pie. Conscious companies who are focused on the greater good are working to evolve our world so that billions of people and the planet can flourish for many generations to come. One way for companies to do this is to adhere to what's called the triple bottom line, or people, planet, and profit. Now, we all know what profit is. This is a traditional profit and loss statement. And some companies are totally focused on shareholder wealth maximization. Now, that's a whole host of other issues that I'm not going to get into tonight. But focusing on people and planet, people is a measure of an organization's social responsibility, including respect for the labor and the communities in which a company does business. And the planet, which accounts for a company's overall impact on the environment. Triple bottom line companies strive to create win-wins for customers, employees, suppliers, communities, and the environment. Companies who want to adhere to a triple bottom line can participate with these certification and independent auditing organizations. So the companies who participate here are voluntarily sharing their data so that they can establish a baseline and then set goals to improve over time. So these companies are setting the bar and raising the standard for what it means to be an environmentally and socially responsible company. Companies like Patagonia, who is an incredible pioneer for the environmental movement, is currently focused on evaluating and improving their entire supply chain. Over 75% of their products are made from recycled and organic products. 100% of their suppliers showcase their transparency on the Patagonia website. And since 1985, they've donated over $85 million. They've donated over $70 million to environmental causes that are dedicated to reversing global warming. Patagonia has had numerous environmental contributions, including in 2009, they pulled together some of the world's largest clothing manufacturers to create the Sustainable Apparel Coalition. These companies and many others collectively created the Higg Index, a sustainability assessment that helps companies measure a product's life cycle, from raw materials all the way to end of life. One of the greatest things of this sustainability index is that for the first time in the apparel industry, these companies can compete on an even playing ground so that they can aim to not only be the best in the world, but to also be the best for the world. We also have companies like Virgin Airlines and Richard Branson. Now, Richard Branson was originally a global warming skeptic, but in 2006, he decided to dedicate many of the profits from his airline and rail businesses to biofuel research. This has resulted in over $130 million in research and a 50% reduction in carbon emissions. Now, this aviation biofuel is not widely in use yet, but these are the kinds of innovations that can create change at a massive scale. Now, being green may not always be easy, but sometimes it's incredibly sexy. I mean, come on, who doesn't want one of these? I know I certainly do. Now, driving a little bit closer to home, to a conscious company that's near and dear to all of our hearts, let's talk about Slalom Consulting. Slalom actually has an environmental advantage on some of our consulting competitors, in that we have a regionally based consulting model. So where some of our competitors are flying their employees all over the nation and sometimes the world on a weekly basis, we staff our employees locally so we can cut down on our carbon emissions in that respect. In 2014, we donated over 4,000 hours to pro bono consulting projects. And we raised and donated over $120 million to 109 nonprofits. These are some of our pro bono partners. And in the last 2 years, these are a number of corporate citizen awards that we have earned. It's no wonder that Slalom is consistently ranked as one of the top places to work for. Let's give ourselves a hand for being such an amazing company. Now, as consultants, we have an incredible opportunity to advise our clients on the future of their businesses. We can encourage them to create products and services that are made with the end in mind and take the entire triple bottom line into account. As individuals, we play many roles in this very complex system. We're consultants, we're consumers. Some of us are parents or aunts and uncles who are concerned for the well-being of future generations. And hopefully, we can count on each other to be community leaders and agents of change. When buying products, we can inquire into the backstory of where a product comes from, what raw materials were sourced to create it, who was involved in the process, and what waste was generated. These are a couple resources to help guide you in creating wise choices when you purchase your products. Take a look, check it out, and see where the gaps are. Where are the businesses that we need to be making more of a difference for our entire planet? When and wherever you see a gap, I beg of you to take some small actions. In today's social age, we can make a difference, because I bet if a company even cares, they're probably listening. And the more that you and I make even just small changes like this, the quicker that we'll achieve critical mass. Now, unfortunately, most everything that we do pollutes our earth. But there are less harmful ways to do the things that we do. Business can be used as a force for good. And we, as individuals, can either choose to focus on the positive and take the actions that matter, or we can focus on the negative and possibly do nothing at all. I encourage each and every one of you to take the actions that make the difference and that motivate not just you, but everyone around you to be the change we all wish to see in the world. Thank you.